He's probably right. It's a talking dog. I was probably definitely overthinking the Scooby-Doo. But, you know, that's just how my brain works. It's funny that you asked that. That's one of those things at that time I didn't realize that, A, I could because, you know, they always tell you can't. But I think also that it would hold... I don't hold as much importance to things as to experiences, but it would have been really nice. I do have one steak. I have one Mr. Pointy that I have. I had a couple pieces of the wardrobe, but I wish I would have taken more. I clearly was in character today. I realized I haven't worn Daphnée purple in a very long time. I think at the time it wasn't the movie that I wanted to make, and I think it was hard for us at the time. Now we see the fans and how much they love it. And yes, it was different fans than we originally anticipated. But now I think both Freddie and I are able to look at it with much more fondness and happiness because it still meant something to that audience.
It was so ahead of its time. It had a story. They worked hard to figure it out. And it wasn't gender specific. It wasn't a boys cartoon or a girls cartoon or any of those things.
It was a talking dog, you know what I mean?
Yes, we have all seen that video. He's probably right, it's a talking dog. I was probably definitely overthinking the Scooby-Doo. But, you know, that's just how my brain works. I do. I have a first edition of Les Liaisons. Well, my first edition is in French. So while my French is un peu, it is not enough to read the entire book. But I was very familiar. I'd seen the movies. I'd read the American version of the book. And I was just such a fan. And no one had ever done anything like it. No one had adapted something that sophisticated for that audience yet. In Japan, it's very traditional, especially in a horror movie, that you don't want to call up spirits and that you want to make it a safe environment. So you do like an entire prayer ceremony. It was amazing. It traumatized a lot of people. In fact, when I was auditioning for it, I watched the original, and I'm not usually scared by horror movies, and I watched it at night by myself, the original, and I thought, well, how scary. It's in another language. Like, I won't... It is terrifying. But I loved it, and it was such a great experience being able to really live in Japan and be part of that culture. Like, that was not an American version of The Grudge. Like, the only American part of that was the actors. The director was the original Japanese director who didn't speak any English. So we had to have a translator go back and forth. So it really was a movie from the heart because that was the only way any of us could connect. Almost made it. I was just telling earlier, I haven't seen it in quite a few years, and my husband has a podcast now where he goes over horror movies. And the first one he did was I Know What You Did, and him and his partner were watching it, and I came down about 5 minutes in, and I thought, I don't think I've seen this since the premiere. And then I watched it, and I felt so badly for her when I was like, she was almost there. Like, I think I forgot all of that. She was almost a final girl. She almost made it. That was intense for just a lot of reasons. Like, it was physically intensive. It was all night long. I mean, it definitely was, and it was, you know, it was my first, like, it was my first big feature film. It was my first big death scene. Like, all of that came into play. They wouldn't show the script, yeah. But between Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven, and I loved Scream so much. Like, I was just excited to get a chance to audition. And I actually just saw that again recently for the first time in a long time. And I thought, thank goodness my 20-something-year-old self didn't realize how hard it is to do a scene just by yourself. Because she's on the phone, the whole thing is by herself. It was next level, just to be a part of his world and just to inhabit that. And is the best. I learned so much from him, both personally and professionally.
The episodes closed with outtake reels.
That's right, they did. How do you not do that with Robin Williams? Because the stuff that he would say was just unbelievable. And Brad Garrett, too, by the way. Brad Garrett does not get enough credit because talk about someone that can go toe-to-toe with Robin Williams. I think I'm most proud that I'm still here and that there's still more to come and that I get to do this job that I love all the time and that people still want me to do it.